So we just watched Finding Graceland. It was requested of us from our single subscriber, Brandon. Hey, Brandon. He asked for us to watch it quite a while back, but it took a while to find it and make the time for it. So anyway, Finding Graceland. It's a 1998 movie. It tells a story of a guy who's on the road and he comes across a lonely traveler who is claiming to be Elvis Presley, played by Harvey Keitel, who looks nothing like Elvis Presley. I don't even know what else to say about it before I start talking with you about it. Elvis goes around helping people with their problems. Mostly everyone seems to either entertain the idea that this guy thinks he's Elvis or they actually think he is Elvis. But either way, the kid that we're following, he had the year before had an accident in his car that killed his wife, and he's been sort of traveling around ever since, mourning, and sort of lost his way. And Elvis comes across his path and helps fix his spiritual and emotional life, and has a crazy way of
doing that.
Yes. Okay, so what did you think?
I thought it was bizarre.
Okay.
An interesting concept, but at first I was like, where in the heck is this thing going? And then it quickly wrapped up at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So it was okay.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It's definitely bizarre. And you can certainly read this film as being ridiculous and silly and stupid. First off, it's an indie film, so they tend to not be as well produced as bigger films. The money's not there to make productions bigger, and but that all being said, that the script can do a lot to cover expenses, and I don't know if this was a failure in the script to not sort of be better written, or if this was all done on purpose to sort of chew up the scenery a little bit with overacting or underacting or crazy acting or whatever you want to call it. So that all that being said, I kind of liked it. And I think what I like about it is it really sort of takes Elvis and turns him into the American myth that he kind of is, that people...
A miracle worker?
Well, I mean, he's part of our pop culture. He's part of the American subconscious. And in a way, the things that his music does is bring people together. I mean, he's touched...
Makes us all do good.
I don't know if we're talking about that, but I mean, he's touched so many people, and this is just a more dramatic way of sort of showing that. Has he healed these people directly like this? Yeah, probably not. But it's funny because, the Harvey Keitel says there are no coincidences, and that's something that reportedly Elvis thought very much about, and it sounds a little crazy, but Elvis wondered if he wasn't sort of on a Christ trip in a way. Not that he was Jesus Christ or anything, but if he wasn't there to help people heal and touch people. And so this is just dramatic license in telling a story that Elvis realized his life was in trouble and he had to get out of the limelight, and so he faked his death and left Memphis and went on the road, I guess. But I don't know. I want to say that I don't think Elvis ever displayed that he was capable of being on his own, but we did watch Elvis and Nixon, and that story is really sort of pertinent here, because what did Elvis do in that movie? He just said, "I can't take it here anymore. I'm going to leave." And when he did that, he literally went to the airport without identification, without any money, and somehow he managed to get himself all the way to DC, to LA, back to DC, and he did all these things in the same charming way. He charmed people, he affected people, and as ridiculous as it is, he got to meet the president that day. And so when you look at it that way, this movie doesn't feel so ridiculous. It feels sort of like, well, anyone else couldn't do it, but Elvis could.
So he's an angel.
In a way, it's sort of like,
Yeah.
it's a funny story. Now, if you don't like Elvis and you don't know anything about Elvis, then you just think this is ridiculous and stupid, but I find it kind of sweet.
I liked it at the end when it started making sense, when it was starting to tie in to get things together.
Yeah, I mean, but that's true. I mean, and sometimes movies do that to you. They sort of torture you all the way through until the very end, then it sums it up, and most people tune out or turn off or leave the theater before you get there, and sometimes you miss the thing that makes it all sort of special. But in a way, the movie makes fun of the myth. It also embraces it, and all through the movie, you're really not sure, was he really Elvis or not Elvis? But the charm of the mythology of it all, I think, again, that's what I'm focused on, is that Elvis has
I
become
see it.
part of American myth. And whether Harvey Keitel was really Elvis in the film or not, it doesn't really matter. It's the power of Elvis as a figure that has brought some healing here. And it's kind of a cool image to think there's some dude running around finding people who need the hope and need healing, and Elvis walks into their lives. So I get it. It's, I could see that it's sort of stupid, but I thought it was kind of sweet. So there you go.
Okay.
So what would you rate it?
Oh dear.
Because I could tell what you were going to rate it while you were watching it. It wasn't going well.
3.
I can tell that I liked it more in the star system, but rating the all around stuff, I'm rating it about a 3 as well. But if you're an Elvis fan, it's sweet and you'd want to see it. And I really would recommend watch it in conjunction with Elvis meets Nixon, because it might make you believe that it's more possible than ridiculous. So anyway, definitely check it out. I thought it was kind of fun, but you got to be an Elvis fan probably. So all right.
All right.
So remember the king.